Now, this is quite interesting because as an actress who's now written and directed my first feature film, Rupert Everett is an actor who has written and directed his first feature film. It's quite interesting, I think, especially when actors want to direct but also play a role in the film. I don't feel like doing that. I don't feel I have the broad scope of skills to act and deliver a good performance and direct and have the entire vision of the film in my head. I find acting consuming enough. And I know when actors do that and they step out from behind the camera and then they can go back and watch the monitor for playback on the scene. And people ask me all the time, like, oh, you have you written a part for yourself? Are you in the film? Are you in it? No, no. There may come a time, but certainly not in the near future. I feel like it's a lot of work to direct something. But Rupert Everett has directed himself, and actually, he's based it on The Judas Kiss, which is a play about the latter part of Oscar Wilde's life, which is what The Happy Prince is about. And this play was very successful, and he must have, really obviously felt an affinity with the story of Oscar Wilde, because even though it's now no longer illegal to be homosexual, it has been in his lifetime. It's a very strong subject about equality and the dreadful way that gay people have been treated. And they're still fighting for equality on many levels. So this film deals with this very sad sort of twilight years of Oscar Wilde. He's reconnected with Bosie, who was his lover that got him arrested and sent to Reading jail in the first place. Not Bosie didn't, but his father outed Oscar Wilde, and he was convicted for gross indecency and sent to jail, and it destroyed him. Everything he had and owned was destroyed. A little bit like some actors and celebrities today, they choose to stay in the closet because they know in certain particular circles where they live and work, it would not be acceptable to be out, especially in Hollywood. So there's a slight comment on that, but I did find the execution of the story a little old-fashioned. The fact that any film gets made is a miracle. A miracle. Let's put that right out there. So I'm always very wary of criticizing the enormous amount of work that goes into any film. There are people along the way as you write your script, as you shoot your script, as you edit what you've shot, that you can shape a story and cut away some of the unnecessary stuff, and that's not always been done here. You're always asked by your cinematographer, what art, is there any art, are there colours, is there stuff that is inspiring you for your cinematography, for your frame, for your pictures? And he'll use a Renoir, the boating party, and it'll almost look like the boating party, and then it'll turn into the scene. And it seemed a little bit too on the nose, some of the visual stuff. And then the other part was actually the story, which revealed that really Oscar Wilde was his own worst enemy. He loved his wife and his family. That was obvious. And, his wife is played by Emily Watson, this sort of completely thankless role, as most of these women married to gay men usually is. We never get to really see how they feel about being betrayed in such a way. He has no money. He's borrowing money that, of course, he has no way of paying back. And you see this douche, debauched lifestyle that he can't finance. And he's living in the south of Italy, and they're paying Italian waiters to come over and have sex. And it's this rather sad portrait of a sex addict, really. And he was an incredible talent and writer and figure of his lifetime. But I'm not sure that Rupert Everett did him any favours. I guess you can't candy coat it if that's the truth. I love biopics. Listen, you know me. I love true stories. I love it. No, this is what happened. But that would never happen. She would never say that. But she did. It happened. It's a true story. I love biopics. I love dramatizations of real people's lives. It was a bit long. There was some long, drawn-out scenes, which, I'm always trying to avoid, and then I get told my scenes are too short. And then there were ghostly apparitions when he's under the morphine for pain, and then this quite egregious final scene where all of the people who used to laud and applaud him, including Queen Victoria, a really bad version of Queen Victoria. She looked nothing like her and wasn't really an actress. They just dressed a woman up in the costume. And all the lords and ladies and everybody from his past, and he can see them as he's fading away to his death. It all just felt a little bit 1970s BBC drama. You know, and you hear the stories about how Rupert Everett, it took him 10 years to make his film, and it was only because Colin Firth came on at the last minute and signed on to do it that they were able to raise the money. And I can guarantee you he still probably raised about £10 million to make a period film. And that's a lot of money to me. And you often wonder, well, who were the producers? Who was there helping pare down the story and get to the point of the story, other than it just being this sad demise of this public figure who was dreadfully wronged, hideously wronged, but he also didn't come across as a terribly engaging person or character. He does in his plays, of course. We love The Importance of Being Earnest and Lady Windermere's Fan, Mose that we know from, that we still quote. But I can't say it was a particularly engaging piece of cinema. So I would give it a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. I mean, listen, it'll come on Netflix or it'll come on BBC Two Sunday night and you'll enjoy it. I just don't know if it's worth 2.25 hours of my time in the cinema. But there you go.